Hello, everyone. I'm certified natural healthcare practitioner Erin Thole, and I'm really excited because we have a client of mine, Mellisa Bruckner, here with us today, and she's going to share her story, her journey, about her experience like working with me and why she came to me in the first place, what she was struggling with, and all of that good stuff. So she has a very inspirational story, and I'm very, very honored to have her on today and happy to have her bravery and very gracious, or I have a lot of gratitude, I guess I should say, for your bravery for coming on and talking about these personal things today. So thank you, Mellisa. Thanks for being here.
Hi.
So basically, let's talk about how we met. We met at a seminar that I taught at Seasons Harvest Cafe over in Cypress, Texas. I was teaching on, root cause of disease and all of that fun stuff. And Mellisa came to the class and then booked a consultation after that. And the rest is kind of history. So let's talk about like what pulled you to come to the class in the first place and what you were experiencing at that time.
Well, me and my friend, I'd been having a lot of digestive issues. I've been diagnosed with RA, so I had a lot of achy joints, and I was trying to just take supplements on my own, trying to figure out what would work. I'm not a big medical person, like I don't care for medicines,
For sure.
but I do the natural way.
Mhm.
And so when I saw I knew about the season harvest. I've eaten there; it's great food.
It is.
but Yeah. So then I saw you were having that seminar and I said, let's go check this out and see what she has to say.
Mhm.
So that's how I met you.
Yeah, yeah. And then I remember in our first consultation, you're just talking about the level of pain that you were in and how that was affecting not only your day to day, because you live on like a larger property, where you have like animals and you're taking care of a lot of stuff. And so it was affecting your day to day, and your sleep was like a big issue because laying down was just like
Yeah.
painful,
Hey.
yeah,
Mhm.
despite being on like taking some
Medicine.
medication and stuff like that. Yeah, it was still causing an issue. So where you talk about like what kind of pain you were noticing, like where were you noticing the majority of your pain?
Just joint bone, like in your bone, I don't sometimes like muscle. But I mean, I could go get a massage like a pedicure or something, and how they just massage your legs on the bottom. Just
Yeah.
by touching the bone in there, it would just be achy.
Oh man.
And so, and just and then I had a lot of the bloating. I had a lot of stomach issues, and so I was always bloating.
Mhm.
And just I guess all the inflammation.
Yeah.
So that, and
Yes.
then I'd work outside, try to do yard work. I'm a big yard work person, and I would just get so sore,
Yeah.
after I did that. So it
Yeah.
wasn't good.
Not good. Yeah. Pain can really take it out of a
Lim-
person,
yeah,
physically
limit.
and mentally.
Hmm.
Um,
Yes, fatigue. I had fatigue. I had a lot of fatigue. A lot of my thoughts were foggy. That sort of thing.
yeah, a lot of that brain fog and stuff like that. Yeah.
Mhm.
And RA, rheumatoid arthritis, is an autoimmune condition. And so with autoimmunity, there's always a gut component. You had a lot of digestive symptoms, but some people don't have really like any digestive symptoms that are overwhelming that they can pinpoint. But the mere fact that you're diagnosed with a autoimmune condition is your digestive symptom, really. There's 100% of the time a link back to that ecosystem, food sensitivities, imbalances in the gut. So we did some food sensitivity testing. We looked at the ecosystem of your gut as well. We looked at your omega status and found out like how inflamed everything was, and just looked at that cellular health and things of that nature. And we found out a lot of stuff. So
Yes, we did.
yeah. So what were some of the big changes that you made? Because I remember in the beginning, you're like, oh, I don't know if I
Yeah,
can do this, gluten-free thing.
right.
It's an issue for
There-
so many people. So
Well, I knew, my sister has a big gluten intolerance also. So I kind of knew it probably ran in my family, but I just I never believed in it or never thought it was, that big of a deal.
Mhm.
But so, I guess we've been on this journey. I was thinking almost a year with you, probably. Yeah.
Okay.
And so, yeah, at the beginning, it was pretty tough to, try to give up certain foods and things like that. But nowadays, you have gluten free, a lot of products, a lot more products than you used to. So it's not as bad. It's just like the social gatherings and things like that. Sometimes you want to cheat.
Yeah.
And but I mean, I think getting like you were really a good coach for me. Like it's also for the exercise, the motivation. You're just very encouraging as far as, just you getting me to see things that I wasn't seeing probably. And,
Mhm.
and just getting that in my mind thought and a path. You kind of gave me a path.
Yeah.
And then the balance oil, that really, really helped, I think, a lot. And some of the other things also, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think a big thing for you was kind of, even though it took a while to get 100% gluten free, you were noticing, which is just part of
Yeah.
the learning process, so we can wade into the pool. Like, not everyone wants to jump into the deep end right off the bat. That's perfectly fine. Everyone has their own pace. So you would notice, and I would always like point this out, you'd be gluten free, and then you'd have a weekend where you would have something with gluten, and then the pain would come back, and we would talk about that and be like, this is what it's cause and effect. This is why, we need to avoid that 100% of the time, and we don't want to deteriorate the intestinal lining further, and so on and so forth. So you were able to actually like see that manifestation.
Yeah, I think that's helped so much to be able to see the cause and effect. you
Yes.
know, it
Sure.
really matters.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, I mean, I would say I'm 99% gluten free. Occasionally, like I'll have a bite, like at my mom's, because that's just her food language to feed you.
Yeah.
So I'll just like take a little bite. Okay, mom. you know, like sometimes the older generation, they just don't truly understand it as much as you try to explain it.
True. Yes, that
So,
is
but
true.
living it and then seeing how I'm feeling better, they have noticed. I've lost weight. I don't have that gut bloat anymore. And I feel better. I have all this energy.
Yeah.
So they have noticed. And,
Yeah, like people notice a change in you, like you have more pep in your step, there's more energy because you're not bogged down by this pain, which is
right.
then causing you to not be able to sleep, so then you're even more tired because of the lack of sleep. So it's just like this domino effect, so yeah, everything's really really connected. So now you're sleeping well, the bloat is gone, the weight's
Yeah. I mean,
coming
people just can't get over my energy level. you know, tell them what I'm doing for the day. Oh my gosh, how do you do that? Because I have a friend that I really try to encourage her to come on board.
down.
but she's a nurse or was a nurse, and so it seems like those are a little more hard-headed. I don't know.
Well, it really depends. I have a lot of nurse clients, actually. I think that a lot of them have seen kind of the allopathic medicine, like our very reactive medical system, play out, and they're like, there has to be a better way. This is not, I'm seeing people deteriorate like right before my eyes, so a lot of them have kind of come over to the functional medicine side, and really seeing like, okay, like this makes a lot more sense because we're actually getting to the root of the problem instead of just putting band-aids all over people. So
Right.
yeah, so she might come around, and everyone's got their own process.
Reason. Right.
Yeah, so I have quite a few clients who are like, oh, I referred this person and this person and this person. And then some of them reach out right away. And then some of them, it's like a year later, and then they're finally ready, which is fine because I want the people that are ready
Re-
to
Yeah.
make those changes and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like me. I was ready. To do
Yeah.
something, try to figure this out on my own.
Yeah. And that's hard to do. Figuring it out in your own is kind of like banging your head against a wall
Yeah.
because there's so much information out there and there's so much contradictory information.
Yeah.
So it's like, do I go this way? Do I go that way? Like, who do I believe, you know? And if we can really look at your body and I can basically give you a blueprint and be like, this is what your body is telling us, this is what we need to do, then it's a lot easier. It takes a lot of that stress away. And when we're not as stressed, it's
Yeah.
easier for everything to get into alignment in the body, you know?
That's true.
So
That's
even
true.
practitioners aren't their own practitioners, you know?
That's true.
It's good to have someone that you can really rely on and trust to.
Yeah, yeah. I felt I really could trust you. There was something about you that just made me trust you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah. So it was totally a joy to talk to you, and just like every time we had our appointments, just really celebrate your wins and fine tune things, and make sure that we're still continuing to head down the right path. And then as you get over one thing, it's like, okay, now let's work on this other goal. And things evolve, which is also a really cool thing, because once the major issue, like the pain, is gone, then it's like, okay, awesome, let's take care of the next thing. What's the next thing? So peeling that onion.
Right. And I have also been able to reduce my medication. I was only on 2 medications, but on both of those, I've been able to reduce them. Like one I was taking 1.5, and the other one I was taking 1.5. And so I've reduced them down quite a bit from, a whole half down.
Exactly.
So,
Which is a huge win, because with medications, there's always the intended effects and then a whole landslide of unintended effects.
yeah.
So yeah, to be able to cut those down and eventually get off of them is huge.
Huge. That was my goal also. So
Yeah.
getting there.
Yes. Yes. And you're doing it. Look at you go.
Yeah. I know.
I think the energy is really the biggest thing, because I think a lot of people just kind of associate a downslide in energy with just part of getting older. Like, oh, this is just what
Yeah,
happens as we
yeah.
age, and it's like, no, not really. Like, I know plenty of people like yourself who now have tons of energy and probably can run circles around some people that are half their age, just because you take care of yourself and you know what's going on in your body.
Yeah, and that helps. I mean, definitely makes a difference. And then the exercise too. I mean, you're a great motivator for that too.
Thank you. It's one of my passions. Yeah. So what advice would you have to anybody who's kind of like thinking about diving into this functional medicine world and working with a functional medicine practitioner and kind of nipping their health conditions in the bud?
I would just say take that first step. I mean, there was nothing to it other than meeting with you and getting the blood work done. That's a big eye opener for me, just to see the test come back. It's factual. So that really helped me. And I just, if you just want to get off of that cycle of failure almost, I guess, you just try something and it doesn't work. And you try something and it doesn't work. And then you just almost give up. You think, is this the way I live? And it's really not. And so I would say go for it.
Just take the first step. Yeah.
First step, yeah.
Yeah.
And just, have consult with you. I mean, I felt that was really good when we did our consultation too. You kind of walk me through.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's free. And it kind of lets you know what you're going to get into and what you're going to learn. And you learn a lot about your body. So I think that was another reason.
Yeah, very true. And I think a lot of people have the fear of knowing, so for a lot of people, they're like, yes, I want to do this. Yes, I want to get better. But I'm also really scared to see like what comes back on the test. And it's like, well, there's power in knowledge. If we know what's going on, we can fix it. If we don't know what's going on, then we continue to suffer and spin our wheels. So in the beginning, it might feel a little, stressful, or there might be a little bit of anxiety just because you're like, oh gosh, like what is it that I have to change? But
exactly. change part. And then I learned that through that too. It was just a process. Like I was slow. I mean, I guess slow. I don't know. I felt I was, took me a little while to get the whole concept. And then once you start you get off of the gluten or whatever it is need to correct, and then you try it back into you put it back into your diet, and you can just see the difference and feel the difference. And so that just really helped
Yeah. Yeah. That's part
to
of that
motivate.
learning curve, because most people do that at least once where, they're feeling great and they're like, is this really that big of a deal? Let me try it. And they try it and they're like, oh gosh, not doing that again. Like that was, not the thing to do. I talk a lot about the fishbowl effect. Like when you have this fishbowl that's so dirty that you can't even see if you have a fish swimming around in there anymore, or if the fish is dead, who knows? And if you throw another handful of dirt in there, you're not going to notice,
Right.
But if you clean out that tank and you have that healthy, happy little fish swimming around and you throw a handful of dirt in, you're going to notice. So that's kind of the same thing with your body. When you're in so much pain, you have all this inflammation, there's all these crazy symptoms going on, and you can't really make head or tails of anything. You don't really know like what's actually causing it. It's probably like a bunch of different handfuls of dirt that are being thrown at you every single day. And then we figure out what that dirt is and we clear it out, then everything clears up. And if you put a little bit of that back in, like you now have really
You can
learned to be in tune with your
identify.
body. Yeah.
Right. That's
So
a good analogy.
thanks. It's not mine. I heard it from one of my professors in school, and I've just kind of like hung on to it because I was like, oh, that's a fantastic
Yeah,
analogy. I'm gonna
that
use
makes
that.
yeah.
So I've been using it for 17 years. But yeah, that's exactly what it's like, in your body. So mhm.
And before I was taking all these different supplements, not knowing really which ones to do. And now it's really, so much more cost effective to find out what you really need and
Yeah,
just narrow it down to a few things.
and just
And
do
so,
that. Yeah.
yeah, do that. And it's really saved me more money than trying to experiment with a lot of different things. So,
Exactly. Yeah, because man, the vast majority of people when they come to me, they're like, and we do their intake forms and they send me this list of all of the supplements, medications, yada, 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 that they're taking. And for a lot of people, it's like
a lot.
then
Yeah.
like 20, 30 supplements. And I'm like,
Whoa.
why are you doing like, who told you to take? Well, I saw this online and then I read this article about this. And then somebody told me that this would be good. And then a friend of mine takes this and swears by it. And it's like,
Yeah.
so if we can pare that down and actually figure out what your body needs, then you don't have to have, 10 million
Yeah.
supplement bottles sitting on your counter and in your medicine cabinet and all of that stuff. You just
Yeah.
know what works for you because we have test results that show what you need.
That's the big thing for me. I'm just so thankful for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a huge thing for a lot of people. It's just knowing
And
all
I'm eating healthier, it encourages you to eat healthier. And so that's great too. So
yeah.
I just feel great. I just feel great.
You're doing fantastic. I'm so proud of you and all the hard work that you've put in, all the changes that you've made. I'm so happy for your energy level and just the things that you're able to do now and how good your body is feeling. So, and I'm sure your body's happy about that too. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I appreciate you, Erin, and I am grateful to you. So
Well, thank you
thank
so much. I really appreciate that. Yay. Thank you for being here, Mellisa. Thank you for sharing your story. I really appreciate it. And I know that it will inspire other people that are in that same boat because a lot of people are in that same position that you were in, when we first started working together. So I think it'll resonate with a lot of people. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.